Hello students, I welcome you all to session 2 of our digital classroom. In today's session, we will be continuing with the lesson Diversity in Living Organisms. Now let us understand the flowchart that has been shown on the screen. All the organisms children are divided on the basis of their complexity of cell structure, that is whether there are prokaryotes or eukaryotes. Now in prokaryotes, if they are unicellular, mostly unicellular prokaryotes are present here, and this kingdom is actually termed as kingdom Monera. Now moving further, if an organism is a eukaryotic organism, we tend to find out if it is unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular eukaryotes are placed under the kingdom Protista. Multicellular eukaryotes. Now, if an organism is eukaryotic as well as multicellular, it is placed, seen whether it is without cell wall or it has a cell with cell wall. So, if it is without cell wall, it is placed under kingdom Animalia. If it has a cell wall, we will find out that, if it is photosynthetic or non-photosynthetic. If it is non-photosynthetic, it will be placed under kingdom Fungi, and if it is photosynthetic, it will be placed under kingdom Plantae. Now children, let us deal with all these 5 kingdoms and their characteristics individually. Now the first thing that we will be starting off is with kingdom Monera. Now as you all have started right now, that kingdom Monera are actually unicellular prokaryotes. So if we would have to elaborate on their characteristics, we can say that they do not have a well-defined nucleus, they do not have membrane-bound organelles, and they do not show multicellular body designs. There is no division of labor present, as only single cell is responsible for carrying out all the major functions, right? And the mode of nutrition here can be autotrophic as well as heterotrophic, depending upon if they have got their photosynthetic pigments or not. They may also have a cell wall made up of peptidoglycan, and sometimes they even do not have a cell wall, right? So the organism belonging to this group includes bacteria, blue-green algae or cyanobacteria, mycoplasmas. So the diagrams are given here, children. You can see that we have a bacteria here. We have an Anabaena, which is a cyanobacteria. It's got a resting spore and heterocyst. So heterocyst, children, is actually a cell. It's a cyanobacterial cell which will help in nitrogen fixation. So we can say that Anabaena is a nitrogen fixing bacteria, right? Now moving on to the second kingdom, kingdom Protista. So kingdom Protista has got eukaryotic organisms which are unicellular. Now these organisms will actually help have some kind of a locomotory organ. It can be cilia or flagella or maybe pseudopodia. So these all organs will actually help in their movement, help in their locomotion. They can be autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. Now their examples include diatoms, protozoans, etc. You can see here Paramecium has got cilia, and then amoeba has got pseudopodia, and flagella is present in euglena, right? Now moving further, we have our third kingdom, which is kingdom Fungi. So kingdom Fungi, children, will have eukaryotes which will be multicellular, and they will also have a cell wall. Now you have to remember that they have a cell wall which is made up of chitin, and chitin is also called the fungal cellulose. Now you have studied this already in lesson 5, that is cell, the fundamental unit of life, under the heading cell wall. Now they are heterotrophic. Again, if we would have to elaborate on it, we can also say that they are saprotrophs. They purely feed on dead and decaying organic matter, right? And they may also be parasitic also. So you also have to remember about their cell wall, that it is made up of chitin. Again, their examples include yeast, mold, mushrooms. You can also write Aspergillus, Agaricus, Penicillium. Now children, one thing that you might have noticed, that the scientific names written here, like whether it is Saccharomyces, Penicillium, Agaricus, amoeba, Paramecium, they are written in italics. So they are written in italics because they are scientific names. Again, if it comes to you cannot be writing things in italics. So whenever we write scientific name, using our pen on paper, so we we make sure that we're underlining it. If a scientific name is not underlined, that is actually considered as simple as not written on it. So if you need to write a scientific name, you need to make sure that you're underlining it as well, right? Now children, you have to remember that some of the fungal species, they actually live in association with algal species, and they form a symbiotic relationship with them, which is called lichens, right? Now what is lichen formation, what is symbiosis? Symbiosis is actually a mutual relationship between two organisms in which both of them get benefited with each other. So lichen is a relationship between fungus and algae. Algae would be photosynthetic, so algae would be preparing food for the fungus, right? And the fungus in turn will probably provide protection, shelter to the algae. So likewise, they are mutually dependent. Now moving on to our fourth kingdom, that is kingdom plantae. So plants are multicellular eukaryotes with cell wall, you know about it. They are autotrophic, they have chlorophyll for photosynthetic, right? Now we will be dealing with further the categories of kingdom plantae right now, right? So let's move on further and let us study that what all things are included in kingdom plantae. So first off, let's just discuss about the flowchart that we have here, children. Now plants. See, if you have to categorize a plant, the first thing that you'll notice is whether it has got differentiated body parts or not. That is, if the plant body is differentiated into root, stem or leaves, if you can see root, stem or leaves clearly, or if you cannot see root, stem or leaves clearly. So if the plant body is not differentiated, if it does not have differentiated body parts, it is actually belonging to the division Thallophyta. Now just recalling hierarchy for a minute, you know that in hierarchy we have kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, but phylum is used in kingdom Animalia, and for kingdom Plantae we use the word division. So the first division is division Thallophyta. Now children, division Thallophyta, they do not have differentiated body parts. The plant body will not be differentiated, you will not be able to clearly see root, stem and leaves, right? So this is about division Thallophyta. Now moving on, if a plant has got differentiated body parts. So if a plant has differentiated body parts, we will tend to see that whether it lacks vascular tissue or whether it has vascular tissue. Now vascular tissue is nothing but xylem and phloem that you have already studied in the chapter tissue, complex permanent tissue. So if it does not have vascular tissue, it falls under the division Bryophyta, and if it has vascular tissue, it comes under, we again have got segregation, whether they are producing seeds or no seeds are produced. So if it has vascular tissue but seeds are not produced, then it will come under the division Pteridophyta, right? So after the division Pteridophyta, we will see if they are producing seeds. This is some kingdom Phanerogams. So if they are producing seeds, we will see if the seeds are naked or if the seeds are inside the fruit. If they are naked, they will fall under the category of subdivision Gymnosperms, and if they are bearing the seeds inside the fruits, they will fall under the category of Angiosperms. Now in Angiosperms again we have got two categories, dicots and monocots. That is, the seed has got two cotyledons or only one cotyledon is present. Now let us just study about individually the characteristics of each division. So for that, let's just move on further. So the first group is division Thallophyta. Now in division Thallophyta, the plants do not have a well differentiated body. They will not have roots, stem and leaves as such, and these plants are commonly called as algae. So these plants are actually aquatic. Most of them are just found in water only, and since they are found in water, the water currents will actually help in transport of water and minerals and everything throughout the plant body. Now one more thing to remember is, children, that since they do not have a well differentiated body, you can see no root, stem and leaves are there. So that is why they have a thallus. Their plant body is called a thallus. That is why the name Thallophyta has arrived from there. From the word thallus, it's Thallophyta, and thallus is like undifferentiated plant body. So the examples include Eulothrix, Cladophora, again to be written in, again they are written in italics, so they will have to be underlined, Alva and Spirogyra. Right, again they are plants, so they will have chloroplast and they will be performing photosynthesis. Now Bryophyta. So Bryophyta is our second division. Again, just recall, they will have a differentiated body, but they will not have vascular tissues. They are also called amphibians of the plant kingdom, children. Why? Because they are found in moist and shady places. You cannot say they are present on land, you cannot say they are present in water, but they are present in moist places, right? So that is why they are called the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Now there is no vascular tissue, no xylem, no phloem. So again, these moist conditions will only help in the transport of substances. You can see the examples here: Rixia, Markensia and Funaria. Now moving further, the Pteridophyta division. Now pteridophytes, children, they will have a properly differentiated body. They will have xylem and phloem. One more thing to remember is, children, that these are the first terrestrial plants. These are the first land plants. They were capable of surviving on land. Why? Because they now have the vascular tissues. Because of the presence of vascular tissues, they were able to mark their survival on land. Now children, moving further, we have kingdom Plantae, which has got two subkingdoms, that is cryptogams and phanerogams. So cryptogams, like written here, they have inconspicuous organs or hidden reproductive organs. These may have the plants which may have differentiated body or undifferentiated body, or probably which may have vascular tissues or non-vascular tissues. So the first three divisions that we have studied, division Thallophyta, Bryophyta and Pteridophyta, actually fall under the category of cryptogams, right? And on the other hand, the other category in which the reproductive parts are well differentiated, they are falling under the category of phanerogams, right? No, phanerogams are actually categorized into two groups: gymnosperms and angiosperms. So gymnosperms has got the seeds, but the seeds are not present inside the fruit. They have naked seeds, and these are usually perennial and evergreen woody trees. They are mostly found in mountainous regions. So you can see the cone of Pinus, Cycas, all these are gymnosperms. And then coming to the angiosperms. Now angiosperms are also called flowering plants. They will bear a flower that will eventually form the fruit. The fruit will have the seeds, and the ovary would be present, which again will form the fruit. So likewise it will operate like that. Now plant embryos have got structures called cotyledons. These cotyledons are also called seed leaves, children. Now these seed leaves, which actually provide the food to the germinating seed. When the seed will be growing, these cotyledons will be providing the food to those growing seeds. Like it's same as a yolk. The function of yolk in an egg, in a zygote, is to provide nutrition till the organism develops. So likewise here also, till the organism starts photosynthesis, till the organism has got its first leaf, the nutrition to the developing organism will be provided by cotyledons. Now it is also divided into two, that is monocots and dicots, or monocotyledonous plants or dicotyledonous plants. So you can see here, this is an example of monocot, then this is an example of dicot. So children, monocot have, if you would have to differentiate one cotyledon, here two cotyledons, here the venation of leaf is parallel, and here the venation will be reticulate. Here, since parallel venation is present, the roots will be fibrous, and here taproot system would be present. Here the flowers may be trimerous, they will have petals in multiples of 3 and so on. Here pentamerous flowers will be there, right? So these are the ways by which you can differentiate between monocot and dicot. For the examples of monocot, we have wheat and rice, and for dicot we have gram and peas, etc. So I hope the kingdom Plantae is clear to you all, children. Thank you very much for this session.